Welcome to the Goodish Girls, guys. My name is Dallas, and today I have with me one of the most amazing authors, Nisha J. Tuli. So, thank you for being on our show. And before we do get started, I have to let you know that I've been doing this podcast for well over a year now. I've done a lot of interviews. I have not been this nervous in a really long time because there's a whole backstory that I that I haven't even
Okay.
told you. So before I started my podcast and I had just got into reading and kind of find it, like I was in postpartum, I was trying to find myself. I had started reading, and so I obviously did the ACOTAR series, right? So that's like a lot of jumping off points because one of our other hosts gave me ACOTAR. After that, I kind of started exploring my own books and choosing my own like next adventure. And Trial of the Sun Queen series was the next one that I had picked up after Quicksilver. And that series was one of the big pivots and points in decided that I wanted to start a podcast. Because as I was listening to it, I was like,
Oh.
man, what if I got to talk to this author? I have a lot of questions for her. What if one day I got to talk to her as
Well,
I'm
here
going
we
through?
are.
And here we are. So it's truly a full circle moment. I'm truly
Oh,
fangirling right now. It's
that's such an
wild.
honor.
So thank you for being here today. I
I'm honored.
thank you for being on the show. But I know obviously Trial of the Sun Queen, like the Urano series, was a big part of who you are in like the book talk community, but not anymore because Stormbreaker is here. And it is fabulous. And I think
Oh,
that
thank you.
now is going to be one of the big books that people know you from, right? I mean, this morning you like hit the New York
Hope
bestseller
so.
list.
Fingers crossed.
So yeah, it was. I was seeing it all over Book Talk before the publisher even reached out to us. And I saw
Oh,
the
good.
email. I had to walk
Yeah.
around a little bit before I responded because I thought it was a joke. I thought I was being punked. I was like, oh, I'm being
Aw.
pranked. This is funny. But so welcome. So diving right into it, I finished Stormbreaker today.
Oh,
My son
all
and I
right.
listened
You're
to it
fresh.
all the rest of today because I did an audiobook version of it because I really wanted to get like the immersive part of it. So my son and I finished it all day today just because I was like, I have to have it done before we get on today. It is based in Manhattan. So it's New Manhattan in New York, way in
Yeah.
the future. How
Way.
how does one go into the world building of that? How did you go from, okay, I know New York, I'm going to take this New York and I'm going to absolutely turn it upside down, like tunnels underground, the wastelands, all of that. So how did you get there?
Well, I mean, like the start of it was sort of like, what city could we use that's like instantly recognizable? And while it's not even a city, it's literally just a part of a city. Like Manhattan, you know exactly what we're talking about when you
Hmm.
hear Manhattan. And we liked and I liked like sort of like the island sort of went well with sort of the isolation of what that world ended up being with like water coming up around all the sides. I don't know. The tunnels were like, there were must have been trains at some point, right? So like some of them wouldn't have collapsed, some of them would still be there. They would have maintained them. They would have had to excavate them. And because we're like 1,000 years in the future, I didn't have to be, like, too true to what's actually there right now. Because someone
Right.
in another podcast are like, "Well, is this and this pizza place still there?" And I'm like, "It's 1,000 years." Like, I don't know if Ray's Pizza survived. Like, maybe his great, like,
Yeah. It's probably not.
grandson opened up a pizza shop somewhere, but, like, because we're so far in.
Hmm.
And the world building was different because when you write, like, when I did Artifacts, there's sort of, like, an assumption with, like, European-based third world fantasy, like, you know what a king is, you know what a castle
Yep.
is, you don't have to explain what all of those things are, right?
Hmm.
People just already know that, versus this world was completely, like, from the ground up,
Yeah.
my entire own creation, so it was a big challenge in terms of, like, creating everything, being able to explain it all without making it too info dumpy and slowing the plot down.
Hmm.
So it was like a lot of zhuzhing at the beginning of it to like make sure we were explaining the storms and the world and the rules,
Right.
getting things in. And when I write, I am a pantser. Like I tend to like sit down. I have a vague idea of what the world looks like. I know who the main characters are. I
Hmm.
have a vague idea of the plot, and then I start writing, and then I build the world to suit the story. Like I kind of
Interesting.
reverse engineer my world so that it's all the points that I knew, the things I need it to do in order to make the plot work are
Hmm.
what I make it do. Versus a lot of authors will work the other way, where they'll build their world and then build the story around it. I tend to do it the opposite way because I just like to sit down and write because I don't. I don't really know what the actual story is until I, like, start meeting the characters and I hear them talk and I see them
Mhm.
interact. That's how I start creating the actual book, so I can't just, like I'm not good at just sitting down and brainstorming ahead of time because I don't know, just that takes the fun out of it for me.
So as you're writing, is there almost like a movie playing in your head of the characters and what they're doing in the moment?
A little bit, yeah. I'd say I do keep a lot in my head.
Mhm.
I am not very good at taking notes. I'm not like one of these. I with Stormbreaker, I did map out the entire timeline because they're at school for like 8 or 9 months,
Right.
and I was like, okay, this like needs to be a full school year for the
Mhm.
way I wanted it to go. So I had to like make sure because there's some, like sometimes had to be like 2 weeks past because I can't like I'm not gonna write about the mundane things happening every single day because that would
Yeah.
be a very
Mhm.
long and boring book by the end of it. So there was that, but then, yeah, I do tend to sort of, like, envision things in my head while I'm writing. I will, like, write half the about, like, half the book will be just me, like, word vomiting it out, and then by then, I have a good sense of what the story is, so then I will go back to the beginning, and then I'll start filling things in now. That's when I'll
Mhm.
start, like, building more of the world and the background and the backstory, the characters, the visuals, all of that kind of thing, and then I will kinda go past the midpoint, and then I'll get to about, like, 75, 80%, and then by then, the story is really solid. I know what the ending will look like. I will go back to the beginning again,
Mhm.
and I will do that process all over again until I reach the end one more time, and then by then, I have, like, a fully working draft that I'm not ashamed to show anybody.
Wow. That's a process.
It
That's
is, I mean, it just
incredible.
seems to work for me. I mean, it took a
Yeah.
couple books for me to figure that out, but, like, by then, the book's pretty solid, and I've gotten faster
Mhm.
at getting to a more finished product. Like, the actual drafting isn't faster, which annoys me, but at some point, I guess I can only go so fast, but
Yeah.
from the draft to final book has gotten a lot faster for me,
Mhm.
partly because I do have a better sense of, like, what kinds of things I know I'm gonna keep versus things I already like, I've taught my like, trained myself to know, I know I'm not gonna keep this.
Mhm.
Um, so that the overall process has gotten faster, and while that sounds like a lot, I mean, it does take me, like, maybe a few months to draft a full book, like, it doesn't actually take me that long, so
Wow. That's incredible. It's so
well,
interesting to see the different processes that each author has because before I got into this, I just assumed everybody had a whiteboard.
yeah.
I
No,
was like,
I
everybody
love seeing people's, like and their stickies and their, like, lines and their I would love to be that writer. I am not that writer. It's all,
No,
like,
I
up
mean,
here,
everybody's
which is, I don't
different.
know, maybe a little bit dangerous sometimes, but
That's funny. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, some have a whiteboard, you keep everything like in your mind in little areas and then go back, right? Like Callie Hart writes everything everywhere all the time on any random piece of paper she could find. Like everybody's so different, which is amazing that you guys can like put these stories together and weave them together. See, sometimes I can't even keep four things in a row.
well, it is always amazing because you start with this, like, messy draft and you're, like, working on you're like and I mean, I think every author goes through when you're writing, you're like, "Oh, this is garbage, this is crap, this is the worst book I've ever written," and then you go back and you read and you're like, "Okay, it's not so bad," and then you start editing and then, like, suddenly there's this one pass you do and, like, suddenly you're like, "Oh my god, it became a book." Like, it just, like,
Yeah,
becomes a book all of a
there's like
sudden,
a
and you're like,
moment.
"I don't know
Oh,
how this
wow.
happens
Okay.
every time," but it just happens every I don't know, like, it's magic sometimes. And
That
even,
is
like, every
incredible.
book can be quite different, like, when I was writing Tale of the Heart Queen,
Hmm.
I was getting stuck because, like, it was the last book, so many things had happened, I needed to
Yeah.
make everything I had to bring all of these things together,
Hmm.
that I had introduced, and then, like, find a way to tie everything off without introducing anything new and make it satisfying and not make it 250,000 words long because I don't wanna write a book
Hmm.
that long. And so I actually had to stop at one point and start like mapping it out, which is not something I usually do. But in this case, that's what the book needed. And I mapped out like about the first 60% of it. And then once I had that down, I was like, okay, now I understand what we're doing. And then I was able to finish it. So like every book can be a little bit different, even
Yeah.
within your own process too.
That's so amazing. And so going back to like the New York area of it, did you spend a lot of time in New York or like did you used to live there or how did you just did a lot
No,
of
no.
research online? I was like,
Yeah, and I
"Man, she has
mean, yeah, I mean, I've
new
been to New
things."
York a few times, but I mean, that was the beauty of it was that because it was so far in the future, like, I didn't have to be super accurate with
Right. It
anything,
could
like,
just
it
be
wasn't
okay.
like
Yeah.
yeah, like, I mean, it's easy to find information about New York online, like, like,
That's true.
there's
Yeah, if there's any place
the
that has
scene
information, it's yeah,
yeah, like, the
that's
scene in
fair.
Central Park, I was like, "How long would it take you to run from one end of Central Park to the other end?" Like, that was very easy information to find, but
Oh,
even
I
if I had
didn't
been
think
there, I would
about
know
that.
right?
Even okay, yeah, even in the scene
Yeah,
and for our
yeah.
listeners, there are spoilers for this entire book in this episode. Like, just you should just be reading the book. You should have already listened to the book, and then you can come back and listen to this episode. Even in this scene, right, where she's running, you were describing it as, like, the one green area left, and I did not put it together until right now that it would have been, like, a remake of Central Park. I have been to New York one time
Yeah.
for, like,
Yeah,
a
well, because
day,
I call it's
so
the Central Park tree farm, right? Like, because that's where all
yeah.
the last trees are left. So
Yep.
even if it was like I mean, I could have adjusted the size of it, but I did try and keep that one sort of true to what it would have been because I
Mhm.
think it ended up it's about, like, 4 miles from end to end, which would take most people about half an hour to run.
Right.
Like a very
Mhm.
fit person about half an hour to run. And originally I had them like completing the obstacle course in like 12 minutes. And my editor was like, I don't think people can run that fast. And I was
She's like,
like,
"I
oh
really
yeah,
don't think
good
it's
point.
possible."
Good point. I mean, like, I know they're all really well trained and like young and fit, but like nobody can run
Yeah,
for
give 'em a
like very
little
few
bit of a
people.
break.
Plus there's like obstacles, so it's not like you're just running end to end, so
Right.
I had to adjust that a little
Oh,
bit.
that's
But
so
yeah, I
funny.
mean, yeah, I think it was just I know knew enough of New York in sort of the sense of like
Yeah.
how we all know New York, right? You see it in every movie, you see it in so many
Mhm.
books and like that kind of thing. And
Yeah,
like
I
I mean, I'm Canadian and like I knew nobody was very few people were going to read a book set in Toronto, post-apocalyptic Toronto versus in New York, right? Like I it had to be somewhere that people were like
that's fair.
compelled to read about.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple out there
I
that'd be like,
mean,
"I'd like to see that."
maybe, but I felt like Manhattan would be an easier sell.
No, I think it was a great choice, and that's so interesting. So now next time I go to New York, I'm gonna think about it and be like,
You
"Oh,
can think about
okay. This is where the
what
tunnels would
could
have
be
been, and this is"
1,000
yeah.
years in the future. And actually,
Mhm.
my editor, she was like, I looked it up. She's like, everything you're describing could happen. And I was like, oh God, I hope not. Cause like
That's
I was
almost a little
just making
scary.
that. I know. I was like, I was just making that
Woo.
up. Like, I hope that doesn't actually happen one
That's
day.
so wild. And so, we have New Manhattan and we have the Wastelands out of it. In the rest of the series, right? Like the next two books, do you see our our main characters going other places or other reimagined cities in the future past the Wastelands that may or may not
Well,
be
book
there?
two is written. Book two is written,
Okay.
and there is some stuff outside of the city. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I'll accept it. I won't push any
Because
more
when
for this one.
because you know, if you got to the ending, you know how it ends.
Yep.
So yes, they go from that, and there's
Yeah,
some stuff that
they're out
happens.
now.
Yeah, they're out now. There will be some stuff that happens. You'll learn more about where Rook comes from,
Mhm.
what his deal is, and yeah, yeah,
He had more of a backstory than I would have anticipated,
yeah. Well, yeah,
and we don't
but
even
he's a
know
little
a quarter of it.
mysterious. Yeah, you have seen nothing yet.
Wild. I
He's
cannot
got
wait. I'm
lots
so
more to
excited.
tell you.
Yes.
He's got lots more to tell you.
I I can't wait. I'm ready. I need the next book tomorrow. You just send it over.
Well, it's not officially announced yet, but I will just say you won't have to wait very long.
So later on in our episode too, I do have some questions. I did some digging and I found some dates. So I was hoping to see if we could confirm or deny those dates today. We'll see. We'll see. So
We'll see. Okay.
you are obviously we've talked about two of your books. You have like over 10 books that you have published.
That was book number 13.
Wild. That
Yeah.
is amazing. And so
Wild.
now
Yeah.
you are officially a New York Times bestselling author. So congratulations.
Finally, yes. Yes.
That is
Thank you.
incredible. What are you feeling right now? Because as we're recording today, it was
Oh,
announced online. So like what do
yesterday.
you
Yeah, I found out
what are you
yesterday.
feeling?
Yeah. I was on the verge of throwing up all day yesterday 'cause I was so anxious about it because you don't find out till the afternoon because they don't post the list. They
Oh,
send the list
really?
at like 3 o'clock to all the publishers, like
Mhm.
an embargoed list. And then your editor, my editor texts me and she's like, we're number two. And but and then the list doesn't go live until 5 o'clock versus like the USA Today list and the Indie Next list, they all like go up in the morning. So like,
Mhm.
first thing. This
Right.
one you wait like I do. And so yeah, I was just like all day I was like on the verge of throwing up and I was just trying to do work and not think about it. And like, but I was obviously thinking about it. But
Yeah.
it feels amazing. It's feels long overdue.
Yes. Yeah, it's wild that it hasn't happened yet, but, you know what? It was meant to be when it's meant to be, and here you are
Yeah,
now, and
here we
that is
are.
incredible. So, again, congratulations. That is
Thank you.
so I
Thank
can't
you.
even imagine what that must feel like. That is amazing, and it's
Pretty
gonna
Yeah, it was
stay
pretty
there, right? Because it
exciting.
can
Yeah.
stay there multiple like,
It can
to
stay there
infinity,
for
right?
a
Like
long, long time. It could,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I think it's just getting started. Well, you is this your first, like, YA series?
Yeah, so yes, it is because, Forever, who's my other publisher, published
Mhm.
Artifacts of Uranus when they picked it up from when it was indie, and then I signed a contract with them for my next adult romantasy series last year. So they like when you sign with the publisher, they sort of like get next rights to your next work in that specific genre. So
Oh, interesting.
for me to do
Okay.
something else, my agent was like, "Okay, well,
Mhm.
Red Tower is starting this new YA imprint. We should pitch there." And I was like, "Yes, I've always wanted to write YA." And I was like, "Yeah, I totally wanted to do that." So that's why I did YA this time so that like it could sort of exist alongside my romantasy work and my contemporary work.
Yeah.
Because when you're like contracts can conflict with each other, like this is the best way to sort of like make sure I can keep writing, keep like,
Mhm.
generating new books, making more money, right? Like I don't
Yeah,
get paid unless I'm publishing a book, right?
exactly.
So there's that. So yeah, that's why we went with YA. I had a feeling dystopian was gonna have a moment. So I was like, I really want to write a YA dystopian. And I was right. I mean, someone pointed out that like there was 3 dystopian YA books on the
Mhm.
list yesterday. Like that's crazy. Like that would a year ago you wouldn't have seen that. So that's awesome. And yeah, I always wanted to. I thought I actually started out writing YA when I first started writing, and I thought that's what I was going to do because we were in the YA heyday at that moment.
Right.
And then Romantic came along, and I discovered I really liked writing smut, so I went adult. And so
That's
so
fair.
then I went that way for a while, and I was like, okay, now we're gonna go back. Now we're gonna do the YA. I always wanted to do. So yeah.
And that was gonna be my next question was, did you plan for dystopian, right? Like, as you had said, you know, you saw it upcoming, you saw it was happening, and dystopian is having a very big moment right now, and YA and
Yeah.
romance and all of the other things, right? Like, in all the genres, I feel
Yeah.
like it's very up and coming, and it's
Mhm.
kind of exciting, and it's new to me as well. Like, the first dystopian was Daggermouth that I had read until I had read, like, your book, so it's very interesting to think
Oh.
about a world that is not quite right anymore.
No, I was really into the previous like, I loved Hunger Games and Divergent and Uglies and, Gone like, I went through that whole phase, like, 10 years ago when those were really big, so
Yeah.
I had always wanted to write something like that since then, and I was like, "I think the moment is coming."
Mhm.
So that and Entangled agreed, I was like, "I really wanna write a dystopian," and they're like, "Yeah, we agree, we think it's coming back too," so, yeah, that was where it came from, yeah.
So going from like romantasy over to YA, are there certain restrictions that you have or especially like with the romantic scenes, was it more or less difficult to write those knowing you had limitations?
No, I wouldn't say so. Like, I mean, you read it. It's like it's also
Mhm.
it's upper YA, right? Like this is geared at 16 plus. So it is still like more
Yes.
grown up YA. Like I got plenty of F bombs in there and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And there's a little bit of, there's some romantic scenes that, are like, so in some ways it was actually kind of nice because like sometimes I don't know, I was feeling almost a little bit burned out on writing spice. So it was
Yeah.
actually kind of nice just to make this quick little scene that was, only like 2 paragraphs instead of a whole chapter and
Mhm.
stuff. So I didn't mind that. Like it was a little bit of an adjustment, but in this case, I wanted it to focus on like the yearning and the,
Yeah.
more of them, like the banter, the slow burn, like more of that like
Mhm.
19-year-old angst versus, like more where it's more adult and like yeah, so it's appealing to that sort of like her first love and that kind of thing. It was fun. I think my voice naturally lends itself well to a YA audience anyways. So like don't think I really had to change a lot of that. I had I had my Gen Z consultants help me with the text messaging, and they were like, "We don't use punctuation," because I had periods and commas, and they were like, struck all those out, and I was
No.
like, "Okay, sorry." Like, so
Oh my god. Okay, I'm glad it's almost like, like having a sensitivity reader, right? You gotta have a
yeah, a
Gen
little bit. They
Z
were like, "This
look
is not how
over.
we like." Yeah.
Yeah, to make sure that you're doing
Except for
everything okay.
Trinity got to keep her punctuation because she was like, a cop basically. So they're like, "No, no, that's the right for her personality." And I was
Beautiful. That's yeah, you gotta have someone look that over just to make sure, but it
like,
and, it was nice, I think, as well to get, again, a smidge of spice, right? But then be able
yeah,
to go back
just
into their story. I didn't know that I needed that. I didn't know that I needed that break until I got it. And then I was like,
yeah,
"Oh," I said, this is kind of fun. Okay." I was like, I
right?
got a
Like
little
sometimes,
bit and I was like, "Oh,
and I've seen like a number of reviews are like, "Well, there's no spice," but I didn't even miss it. I still enjoyed the book, and I'm like, "Yes, we can
yes."
enjoy them without like, I love it too, but we can
Mhm.
enjoy them without it."
It was
Yeah,
nice and
but
it
and
really
it
brought me back, like, to
yeah,
when I like, to
yeah,
my
because it
first
was
love.
more about it was more about the looks and the flirting
Mhm.
and because that's
Yeah,
kind of
and, like,
fun
the
too, right?
feeling when
Like,
they're
yeah,
gone, she's like, "I miss him." And I was
right,
like, "I
right.
remember those days."
And that
I was like,
like,
"Oh, that's
yeah, and when
nice."
you see him and you have to sit next to him in class and you're like,
Yes, exactly, and
yes,
you're like,
yeah,
"He's looking at me, I'm looking at him.
yeah,
Oh, no." I was waiting for them to, like,
pretend.
pass a note, you know what I mean? Like, fold it into a cute little arrow.
No, they weren't there yet. They weren't there yet.
No, they were not there. So wild. So even in this story, right, we had, like, the spice that was it was just the perfect amount. The twists as well caught me off guard.
Oh, good.
I in a lot of these books that I read a lot of books for fun and also for our show. I have this habit where I'm like, "Oh, this is gonna happen. Oh, this is gonna happen." Where I don't mean to guess the ending or try to guess the ending, it's just something that I do, and I tried multiple times, and I failed
Oh, good. Okay,
completely.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah,
Okay, good. I've
every time I was like, "I didn't get that right.
okay,
Okay,
good.
okay." Which is
I have
so
a friend who,
fun.
like, reads all of my books, and she guesses everything about every book, and she was like, "I didn't guess anything this time," and I was like, "Yes."
Yeah, no, 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 there was no guessing. There was no and I didn't when
Oh,
I was reading
interesting.
the Urano series, I wasn't in that habit yet. So
Yeah.
I was just vibing the whole
I
time
never
with
d
lore. I was like,
As
"This
a
is
reader,
so
I never
fun."
do that. I never do that as a reader. I'm always just like, "Just tell me what I'll go with whatever you have to say."
Yeah,
Like, I never do
exactly.
that.
Go with the flow. I don't do that
Yeah.
anymore. I need to get better at it, but with this book, it was so cool because I tried to guess everything and I guessed none things.
And so many people have guessed something about book 2 that is so way off base that
Oh,
I'm just, like, so
oh, it's
excited for
not
everyone
correct. Okay, all right, all right.
so wrong
I still
about
have
what they
time.
think is gonna happen in book 2
Yeah.
because of something that happened to book 1.
I have time. Okay. So yeah, like when we talked about General Soul in the beginning, I immediately was like, she's gonna be a mentor. She's gonna take Poet under her wing and they're gonna like shine together. No, she's a bad lady. I was like,
Is
okay, I
she
didn't see
though?
that coming.
Is she though? She might be complicated. You know how we're all the hero in our own story?
Oh, okay. That's a crumb.
Sometimes we're just trying to do our best and there are no good choices.
She's giving us crumbs. Yes. Say more. And then the fact that her dad knew supposedly the whole time.
The bastards. He is so he
Wild.
I had so much fun with him in book 2 because I love a complicated villain, like, I just like my same with in Artifacts when I wrote
Yeah.
Ryan's point of view, like, in the last book, like,
Mhm.
I just love a complicated villain who, like, often knows they're, bad, but they think they have good reasons for it, and, like, by
Yeah.
the end, you're kinda like, "Okay, I can kinda you're still a horrible person, but I kinda get where you were coming from." Like,
Right. Yeah. And that,
you know?
that was going to be another question that I had for you. Do Poet and her dad have any chance of being on good terms? Right? Like I don't know if Poet can ever
No.
forgive him for what he
I don't
actually did.
Well, I don't wanna spoil too much for book 2, but they do talk some more in book 2,
Okay.
and she does learn a few things
Yeah.
that sort of explain some aspects of his behavior. But whether
Interesting. Okay.
they figure it out, I won't say.
What was it like as an author writing those scenes? Because we're not in a fantasy world, right? In the book, we're supposed to be it on Earth in New York. Yes, far in the future, but we're still, you're still writing about a girl in her late teens who is in this awful relationship with her dad. Were you able to separate yourself from that emotionally as you were writing, or as an author are you like in it 100% emotionally?
I think I tend to move it in and out. Like it depends on like the scene with her mom in the apartment. Like I
Yeah.
cried when I wrote that one because to me that felt so emotional because they have that like moment together, a little bit of understanding, even though they hurt each other or her mom hurt her a lot. Like she also understands why she had to do that sometimes. And
Yeah.
I think that's part of the like growing up phase of this book is that,
Mhm.
when she starts the book, she's very sheltered. She's very like kind of in her own bubble. She doesn't really know what's
Mhm.
going on in the world. And as the book progresses and as we get into book two, obviously she starts to like take in more. She's growing up, right? She's literally growing
Yeah.
up before our very eyes and
Mhm.
discovering and like understanding the world isn't black and white, that there's, different shades everywhere. And um yeah, and then I think just yeah, when you're writing those emotional scenes, I mean, I think yes, you internalize them when you're writing them, but like to a point, it's no different than writing a really happy scene or a really, like
Yeah.
a sad scene.
Okay.
Like, I mean, you internalize them both
Mhm.
because they're also like one in when I wrote Tale of the Heart Queen, which I cried like 1,000 times when I was writing that book, in the scene where they go, okay, the spoiler in case anyone doesn't want to hear it, but when they go, her and her siblings go into Heart, like that's kind of a happy scene, but oh my God, I bawled every single time I read that
Right.
scene. And I read it like so many times. By the end, I was still crying every time they take each other's hands and they start like walking into the city. And I'm like, it's not a sad, it's sort of a, I guess, a bittersweet scene a little bit,
Yeah.
but like, yeah,
It was
like
heartfelt.
definitely.
They
I
worked
know
really
if I'm
hard
feeling
together.
it, then exactly, right? I think that's too, like, if it's a culmination of a lot of things coming together, that's
Mhm.
when I really feel it too. And yeah, like in book 2, there's this part near the end where again, where a lot of things come together and I'm like, "Oh god," like, like it's
Yeah.
yeah.
So when you were writing her mother, as you were as the author, how were you hoping that readers would perceive her mother? Because I feel like
Um,
I went back and forth a lot. I was like, "Oh,
yeah,
no, we don't do that to our babies, like, we don't do," and then I was
yeah,
like, "But also, that's a
but
hard
also
situation."
right? Yeah,
That's
and then, I mean, that's the point. I think it's that you don't part of you is pissed off at her, but part of you
Mhm.
understands also why. She wasn't in a good place either, right? Like, she was also
Yeah.
trying to survive, and, like, Poet kinda gets to leave, like, she gets to
Mhm.
go away now, and she sort of gets to start her own life, which
Yeah.
I'm sure as her mom, as the only one left behind now,
That's
is
hard.
stuck with this man who she can't leave because this world is set up in such a way that she would be left with nothing if she tried
Right.
to leave him. And so yeah, I think that's it. I want you to feel like sometimes you hate her and sometimes you understand her and sometimes you understand, like I had like one beta reader be like, why does she keep like forgiving her mom? And I'm like, because it's her mom.
It's
Like, I
literally her
don't know,
mom.
you want to love your parents, you want to
Mhm.
like have that relationship that you imagine you have with them, even if you've never had it with them, like, you still think about it, you still dream about it, even if it's
Yeah.
a fantasy, like, I don't
Mhm.
especially when you're only 19 years old, right? Like
Right. Yeah, that's
yeah,
literally
yeah,
you've known them your whole life. They are
right, you're like
you know what they're
yeah,
supposed to be,
they've been your
right?
entire world for yeah, and, like,
Mhm.
you can also envision the relationship you wish you had with them
Yeah.
and keep hoping that maybe it'll come one day, and I think if that never happens, it takes sometimes longer for you to accept that and sort
Mhm.
of maybe cut them out of your life if you need to, but,
Yeah.
I
It
don't
can take
she's not
time.
there yet. She still wants the
Yes.
family that she dreams of, right?
She
Yeah.
does. Well, and the bad moments are so bad that I think it made her hold on to those little sliver of good moments
Right,
and be like, "I
right.
could have this, like, it could happen."
Yeah, it's you can see it. It's, like,
Yeah.
there. So maybe we could make that bigger. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Exactly. So, speaking of the name poets, the names in this book were top tier.
Oh,
because
thank you.
they're adults, but they were also, they're still they're late teens, right? And they were all sheltered. And so they act more like high schoolers a lot of the time than they do almost like college kids. So we have Poet, we have Domino, Journey, Rook. Where did these names come from? Like,
I
how
just
did
wanted
you
like
come up with these?
interesting names that sort of like represented like things. I kept looking at names that aren't really names. Like that was sort of my like
Yeah,
baseline. Because I guess anything can be a name, like, all names were not names to start with,
right.
but things that, like, we don't typically think of as names, because I don't know, I felt like way in the future, like, were people gonna still use the same names that we use now? Like, I don't know, that just didn't seem
Yeah.
realistic to me. So, like, while some people do have more, like, traditional names that you might find in our world, and other people have names, like, based on places that don't exist anymore,
Hmm.
and this case, it was just like, what might names evolve into? And so I started like Googling things like names that aren't really names. And I just like looked up words to me that sounded like good names. And actually, Poet, I got from like a celebrity baby naming site.
Oh,
Um,
cute.
Soleil Moonfry, like the woman who played Punky Brewster way back when, her
Oh,
daughter's name is
yes.
Poet.
Yeah.
That's where I was like, that's perfect. And I don't know, it just felt really right for her because she's like, while she's a strong character, she's also,
Hmm.
like, got a softer side, and to me, that sort of, like, spoke to, like, the poet's soul, like, that kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah. That's so fun. Are
And then Rook
there, or
just seemed like a cool name, like,
it
I
is a
saw the
cool name.
name Rook, and I
It's a
was like, "Yes,
mysterious
that."
name.
I always say, like, "Is it a Hawkeye name?" Like, when I'm naming the
Yeah.
love interest in my I'm like, you need a Hawkeye name," and I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's a Hawkeye name."
Hmm. Yeah, you're not
Yeah.
wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Are you able to give us like a hint of a cool name that maybe we haven't met yet in book two?
Um, there's a character named Navy
Oh,
that,
that's cute.
that's a she character, and, I thought I like that one, it suits her really well too.
That is a very cute name. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
very
well, it
into
actually
unique names.
yeah, I just thought it was kind of fun, that's one of my favorites from that book
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I'm
I mean, that's
100%
one
here
of
for
Rick's
that.
siblings, we know he has brothers and sisters, right? That's in book 1, that's one of his siblings is Navy, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, because yeah, he's
Yeah,
one of so six total with
yeah.
mom and dad too. So we hopefully, I'm assuming we'll
We'll
meet the
meet some
rest of the
people, yeah,
siblings.
we'll meet some people.
Incredible. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah, I really like names. I think I accidentally named my daughter like the new Ashleys of the world, or like the new her name's
Oh.
Everly. And 8 years ago, I was like, I don't know anybody. I know Channing Tatum's daughter's named Everly, and that's it. And now there's like seven of them on her softball team.
There you go, see, celebrity baby names.
Yes, exactly. So with our son, I was like, I got to think of a super cool. So his name is Ace, and
Oh, cool. Oh,
I was like
that was one of the I saw a lot that was names that aren't really names, that was one I saw a lot,
Ace.
so that's
That's
there
a
you
cool
go,
name
you're
for
on the
book
trend.
three.
You're on the
I'm gonna
trend, there
slide
you
that
go.
over.
Well, I'm not
Yeah.
done
Then
editing book 2, so there's still time.
oh my gosh. All right. All right. I'm gonna look. It's gonna be another full circle moment next year when it comes out. So when you were writing this book, speaking of like back in high school, as I had mentioned, when you were writing this, did you feel like you were back in high school, or did you have to converse again with like your Gen Z generations? Because as I was reading it, I very much felt I was like, oh, I remember when the lunchroom was in different like areas separate. I remember the cool kids and the goth kids and like the music band
Right.
kids.
I mean, I think that's a universal experience, right? Like, I think that's when
Yeah.
someone asked me, like, "Why do we all like academy books?" I'm like, "Because we all went to school," right? Like, we
Hmm.
all kinda had that experience of, like, yeah, the cool
Yeah.
kids and the not so cool kids, and, like, yeah, I don't know, I think to me that's sort of a universal experience, like, we've all seen it in movies, we've all seen it in real life, we've all read about it, like, and everyone went to school at some point and had to
Hmm.
deal with all the drama and the hormones and all the things that
Yeah.
happen when you get a whole bunch of young people in the same building all at once, yeah.
They're wild. Yeah, it was really interesting to read, and I was like, "It's been a long time," but I remember that. I remember being in that situation. And then, like, when they trash her room like, her area of the room, I was like, "Oh my gosh, mean girls
So
are
mean.
everywhere."
So mean, I know, it was so
Literally
mean.
everywhere. There will always be a mean girl.
It's a
Ugh.
cutthroat world, man.
Yeah, I was like,
Mm.
"There's other things that you guys should be worrying about. There's literally these storms that are killing people on a regular
Yeah.
basis." And you're like, "You're actually not that cool. You
Right.
can't sit
It's
with
like
us."
part of the commentary that it's so easy to sort of like let yourself forget about that imminent threat because you
Mhm.
can sometimes get so myopic in like all the day-to-day things. And that, I mean, is part of the point, right? Like they've
Yeah.
trained them all to think so much about these societies and like fitting in and like
Mhm.
looking good to their peers that,
Yeah.
yeah, start to sort of not pay attention to the bigger threats. And I mean, which is, of course, a huge metaphor for everything going on in the world right now.
Literally. Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. I mean, that's how it happens, right?
That's wild. So with the audiobook, 'cause I had audiobooked it, and I try to audiobook a lot of my books so I can really get a feel for what you want the story to sound like, and when I did Trial of the Sun Queen, I audiobooked that whole series as well, so I am a very big fan of Sunila Nankani, and
Sunil's
'cause
amazing. Yes.
she is fabulous, and I am obsessed with
Yeah.
her. So, hello, if you're listening or ever watching our show. So she voiced Lore, right, in The Trial of the Sun Queen, and she also voiced all of the female characters in Stormbreaker as well. Was that your first choice, or did you listen to other auditions, or were you like, "Nope, I only want her," like, there was no question?
No, we sold the rights to recorded books, and I said to my editor, I'm like, "I would really love Sunila," and they were like, "Actually, that's
Yeah.
who we were thinking of too," and we were like, "Perfect, easy peasy, done."
You're
She
joking.
actually also she actually also did, Not Safe for Work, like my first contemporary, like
Oh,
Sunila's
I
my
didn't know that.
yeah, she also did that one too, yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah.
I am just now
That
getting into contemporary. I'm, like, dipping the toe
well,
in the
there you go.
water on contemporary.
There you
It's
go.
time.
She did great on she was fabulous on that one.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not an audiobook reader, but I remember the first time I heard her do lore and I was like, "Oh, she just, like, got the vibe so perfectly
Mhm.
immediately." And then I did end up listening to books 1, 2, and 3 because that's how I remind myself of the
Oh,
like,
yeah.
when I was,
Okay.
writing each of the books, I go back and I listen to it at, like, 3x speed,
Mhm.
and I make notes to make sure that I didn't miss anything, like, that I or
Right.
contradicted myself anywhere or something. So I did end up listening to
Mhm.
them eventually but I'm not actually an audiobook listener. It just I don't process it very well when
Yeah.
I'm an eyeball reader, but that's great. Yeah, she's fantastic. Yeah, and it was so easy. I was like, I would really love this. And my header was like, actually, that's they said this. They were thinking of the same person. And I was like,
That's
okay,
so
done. So that was
funny.
like the
It
easiest
was
thing
meant to
ever.
be, honestly.
Yeah, it was meant to
And
be.
it was cool because when I started the book, I was like, "That voice sounds a little bit familiar," but then I was like, "Nah, maybe it doesn't." And then I looked into the very end and I was like, "There's no way
No,
that it was
wait,
the
it
same," because
is the same person.
I she did such a good job that there was not a point in the book where I was like, "Oh, that sounds like Lore," or "That sounds like the other like, the
Oh,
one of the
good,
other
good.
female
I
characters."
haven't heard it yet, so that's good to hear. I'm glad to hear it.
She did
Yeah,
such a good job. It was
good,
fabulous.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when you listen to it, you're gonna
she's
be like,
just
"Oh,
like a
this is a
lovely
brand new character." In the book, we hear everything from Poet's point of view. In book 2, is that the same structure that you have going, or are we introducing any of, like, Rook's POV?
yeah, it's just hers in book 2. I think book 3, I will have to split them up, maybe.
Okay.
I
So
might
when
just because for
when
the
you
story structure,
do,
but
are we thinking of the same like, so Corvin King did,
yeah,
with Prince
I
Nadir.
don't
Are we
know.
thinking we're going that direction maybe as a hope? I know that's, like,
Did they
obviously a little
do
bit
the
farther away.
There are some Rook bonus chapters in the hardcover edition. Did they do them on the audio? I know they were talking
I
about
don't
it, but I don't know if
did
they
they?
did and
Oh, now I'm
I'm
gonna
not
look because
sure.
I
I don't know
I
if we
when I
ran out of
finished it, it didn't say anything.
I
Did
don't
I
know if they
not?
did in the end. I don't know if
I
we
don't
kinda
think they
ran out of
did in
time.
the audiobook
No,
one. I'm
okay.
double checking on my
Well,
phone right
just
now
so you
to make
know,
sure.
in the hardcover, there are 2 bonus chapters, and in the ebook, there's actually a 3rd different bonus chapter, all
Ooh,
from Rook's POV.
okay. Now we
Um,
know that there's some bonus chapters out there. Yeah, no, they did not do
yeah,
that on Audible, and even on Audible, it
okay.
just says her name. It doesn't say any other
Okay, so I
people's
guess they
names.
didn't in the end. Yeah, I don't know who if we do end up doing a second POV, I'm not sure who would be. Corbin was great too. I love he was fantastic as Nadir. So yeah, I would totally work with him again. He was
Yeah, that would be a
amazing.
good
But
one. I think that'd be a good
yeah,
I mean, there's
yeah.
lots of other, like, amazing audiobook
I mean,
narrators
yeah,
out
there's
there,
a
but
million out there, but
really?
yeah.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I was like,
But
"I
he
wonder
was
if
great.
she's gonna
Yeah,
go the same direction."
yeah,
That's
yeah.
incredible. Yeah,
Yeah, I think
it's the
for the
bonus chapters
purposes of the
now.
story, the single POV works the best because
Mhm.
I need her not to know everything yet, and I need the audience not to know everything yet, which is why
Yeah.
for me that worked, but yeah.
I also
Yeah.
feel like that was refreshing as well, right? Just like the lack of spice, right, that I'm used to. I think not knowing what our MMC was thinking and or doing was also super refreshing.
Right, and then every time you see him, you're like, "Oh, there he is."
Yeah, I'm like, "Oh, he's back,
Yeah,
yay!" Yeah.
yeah,
I was like, "Where are you
so
going?
I remember
Why are you
after
leaving?"
my first one, my editor, she's like, "We need more Rook." She's like, "More Rook," and I'm like, "Okay,
Yes.
I'll put in more." And, like,
Bring him
"Introduce him
back.
sooner," and, like, yeah, because originally he gets introduced in that first cafeteria scene, and she's like, "Sooner," so I introduced him in that, like, in the very first scene when they're all
Oh,
at
we were
school
gonna have
there,
to wait a
like,
long time.
yeah, you were gonna have to wait a bit
Nisha!
longer, but in the end, that was a better choice. I was like, of course he would appear, like, and then I got to do the Aragorn door sweeping open moment
Oh,
there,
that's
he gets to,
so
like
funny.
yeah.
Wow. It's crazy to find out the things that happen behind the scenes of, like, what
Yeah,
it
yeah, the
could have
things
been
that
or what it
change
almost was.
all along the way, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we would have had to wait. Oh, that
More Rook.
thank you to our
More Rook
thank you.
earlier, and I was like, "Yeah, okay, good point, good point."
Yeah, just have him walk by. There he
Yeah,
goes.
just to have him
There
on.
he
He's
is.
just, "Hey, ladies," yeah.
Describe the
We get
tattoos
lots
in
of him
one
in book you'll get
sentence and then
lots and
move
lots
on.
of him in book 2. You get
Yeah, we
lots
just
of
need
him
a
in book
little
2.
fix of Rook every once in a
Yeah,
while.
yeah.
So this is a trilogy as far as I have found online. Is that correct?
Well, okay, so it
Oh,
was originally
okay.
supposed to be a duology, but then when Amazon picked up the rights, that sort of changed things. So
Okay.
I to be TBD. I've currently written the second book so that it sort of like ends. It ends on a cliffhanger with a new thread introduced. So it could be a third book, or we could end it because dystopian series either end with them bringing down the system, or it ends with them sort of like leaving and starting their own sort of utopia and leaving the bad
Oh,
people behind,
interesting.
right? Like
Okay,
that's
yeah.
sort of how dystopia books series tend to end. So I
Right.
could, like there's sort of an
Mhm.
opportunity to do that the way I've constructed it right now. I think it'll probably be 3 books, but we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. TBD.
Interesting. So, as well in my sleuthing online, I am seeing September 1st of this year for book 2. How solid is that date?
I will say unofficially it's pretty solid. Officially, I'd say nothing.
Okay. All right.
The official
My source
announcement
was
should come
Amazon,
very
if that is
soon.
helpful. Amazon's
The
like, it's
official
coming out
announcement
September
should
1st.
come very soon. Yeah, we will. The official thing will come very soon.
Yeah, they're out there dropping all
I know
sorts of
it's up. I know
info.
it's like keep this secret, but we're gonna post it everywhere. I'm like, all
Yeah,
right,
we're
fine.
actually
I'll
going to
just
put it
pretend.
online, but you
I'll
can't
pretend
say
I don't know.
anything. So,
Say it is fully done and written is all I have to
okay.
say. So
Cover wise and or title wise, are we
there is a cover and there is a title. I absolutely have a cover and a title. Yes,
a
and
cover
they're
and a
beautiful and
title?
it's
Is it there?
beautiful and it's gonna
Is
look
it
so
around?
good next time.
Can we see? I have
I
had
think I might get
authors
in trouble for
drop
that.
title reveals on this show, so if you want,
I might get in trouble.
that's what I don't want to get in trouble. That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah.
So,
No, but
book
these things do
tour
exist,
wise,
so it's a good sign. It's a good sign.
people are excited. I'm excited, and
Yeah,
I'm
I'm glad.
trying to think of like my own guesses of what the name would be, and I'm not doing very well. So I'm not going to tell you any of my guesses
Oh,
because I
I
think
do wanna
that
hear your guesses.
I they're so bad, like Storm Ruiner or like something cool like that. I don't know.
It is storm something, you're right, that's right.
Storm
It does keep the
Crusher,
same
Storm, because it can't
something.
be Stormbreaker, obviously, because like that's the first one. I don't know.
Storm Crusher,
Storm
okay.
Crusher. Yeah, I was like, what could it be? What is book two named? But at least I have the first word right. I think they
You
have
do.
like
It is storm something,
Wordle
yes.
apps for that, right?
It is storm something, yeah. Yes.
So book tour wise, you obviously said you live in Canada. You are not in the United States. Is there any possibility in the future for book 2 where you might do a US based tour where you're going to come to this side and hang out with
Yes, I
us?
think we will do a tour for book 2. I didn't end up doing one for book 1 for a few reasons, just because I was working on book 2
Yeah.
and it was pretty we had to get it done, and yeah, so yes, I think there will be a tour for book 2.
Okay. All right. That's
And
exciting. People are
yeah, which will
very
be good,
much
and
into
I
book
will
tours right now. They love
yeah, I
them.
mean, I love doing tours, they're super fun. I mean, they're very tiring and very, like,
Oh, I'm
exhausting,
sure.
but they're also, like, very like, they fill your heart because 'cause they're just, like, everyone's so
Yeah.
happy to see you, and it's just, like so they're I love doing them, and, yeah,
Yes,
I would
I
love to.
love that. Well, when you do, we're in Orlando, so if you come to the
You're in
Orlando
Orlando, okay.
area,
Good to know.
we
I
have
think
nice
there's
weather.
yeah.
Tell Joanne.
Okay.
Tell her.
I think it probably will be a lot because there's been a few bookstores that have like reached out and said, "Would you please come?" And I think they're sort of more along that side. So
Oh, yeah, we
we'll
have
see.
so many good indie stores here. I mean,
Yeah,
we have the
there's a
big box
couple.
stores too, right? But yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
really good ones
Well,
that
they
have.
tend bookstores. I tend to do better with indies. I
I
usually
feel like
try
you
to.
get more out of it when you go to an indie store because like we did one a couple
Well,
weeks
yeah,
ago, and like the store owners, the independent store owners were so kind, and they made sure everything was perfect, and they were like so
yeah.
courteous, and it was so welcoming, which is
Yeah, and
incredible.
it's just like great for them. They can sell like 100 books in a night, and like
So I know, circling back around, you on Amazon, and obviously we know now that their information is maybe correct, maybe not correct. They just be dropping lore out there. This has been optioned for television by Amazon MGM Studios, and as far as I have found out, they got the draft. They loved it, right? I saw on another podcast that you were on that like they read a bunch of pages in their car and it was fabulous, and they have info for book 2. Do we have any updates past that point? Have you heard anything that you are able to
um
share with us now?
not nothing confirmed yet. I think I mentioned on the podcast I have met with a writer, and I think they're working on their thing over on that side.
Mhm.
So because the next step now is sort of to sort of get the writer in place, gather
Yeah.
all the like basically storyboard like what a first season would look like, what a second season would look like, figure out the budgeting and all that kind of stuff, and then they present all of that to Amazon,
Mhm.
who then decides to greenlight it or not. And then if they greenlight it, then it officially becomes a show. So there is like
Then we go
lots
from
of so
there.
the first thing is the option, and then the second is development, which is what they're doing right now, which is a very
Mhm.
good sign that we're in development. Like that,
Right.
most things never leave the option phase. So it's very good
Mhm.
that we're already in development. Like that's already like a huge hurdle. And then the next is the green light. So we'll see.
Right.
They said maybe by the end of the year we'll know for sure if it gets greenlit or not. But that could be who knows. Like it's
Mhm.
if
It's
I
wild for how many
yeah.
shows they put out, how long it takes them to do
Yeah,
these
but I mean, I
things.
think these things, yeah, start years ahead before you ever
Mhm.
see them, right? So like it's just
Yeah.
and I mean books are like that too, but I think even it seems like book,
Fair.
TV, and movies are even longer, but yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I'm cautiously excited. I mean,
Yeah.
but there are still some steps to go, but I mean, it has to start somewhere. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, fingers
No, it
crossed.
really does. It's so
Yeah.
incredible though,
Yeah.
and I think it would be such
Yeah.
a good TV show,
Yeah, I think
honestly.
visually there would be like so many fun things.
Yeah.
Yeah, like visually, I think, which is I think part of why they were so drawn to it. They loved the sort of like the Venice in New York kind of aspect that
Mhm.
like with the canals and stuff like that. I think that visually they really thought,
Yeah.
yeah, on screen that will look amazing and like purple and the
Mhm.
yeah.
Exactly. How involved are you going to get to be in the actual like production and casting things like that as the author?
I don't actually really know yet. I know they said like once a script is written, I will get to see it, and like we can if
Mhm.
there's anything in there that I'm really don't like or I think is missing or blah blah. They
Mhm.
said we'll take your feedback. Like you might get overruled because of budget, like in the end, it's
Oh,
going to come
interesting.
down to
Yeah,
certain
okay.
things that I
Right.
don't have much say on. Like I think, yeah, I don't really know yet. I mean, I'm not
Mhm.
going to be cut out of it, but like I also am not going to like get to dictate stuff or anything either.
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
yeah, like I mean, whatever. I'm along for this ride. I'm just happy
Mhm.
if it happens, and
So
yeah.
do you have in a perfect world, right? Like let's say you got to choose and they were like, "Nisha, who are you casting?"
I don't know. I'm so bad at this. I'm so bad at like famous people. I don't know. I don't know.
That's fair.
I
That's
have
okay.
absolutely no idea. I
I don't
mean,
have
I
any
mean,
guesses
assume it would
either. So,
no, assume it'd be like some more like, unknown actors who are like up and coming. I mean, they'd have to be pretty young to like play the characters. Yeah, I have no
yeah.
idea. Like, yeah, I don't
Honest
know.
well,
I'm
and
not
it's
good at
it's kinda
this.
nice too when it is a new actor or actress because you don't automatically put their face to something
Yeah.
else,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah. I
then
would assume they would probably pick some like young new faces, right? Like,
yeah, I would
yeah,
think
I
so.
don't know. We'll see. We'll
I
see.
don't
I
know
don't,
why
it's
they
just,
I don't any of the decisions that they make behind the scenes on crazy stuff. I'm like, "Well, that sounds good. I like
yeah, sure.
watching this show." So,
Sure. Sounds good.
that's
And like, I
funny.
know nothing about this world. Like, I am just learning everything as I go to. So it's been very a big, like,
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
sure it's
all these new
a lot.
terms and new words and all these new
Mhm.
concepts. And like, oh my God, this is like
But it's so
when you
exciting
first I
though.
You have to learn publishing, and now I have to learn a whole other industry. Like, yeah,
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
it's
You know, and
super
I think
exciting. It's
as long as you have the right
yeah,
support team behind you helping you, hopefully it's more of an exciting and fun process than like a stressful process for you.
I think it will be.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
It's going to be
Whatever. I
amazing.
get it. If I get a TV show out of it, I'll deal with what.
Yeah. And so another question. So with this, because Amazon and MGM Studios have the rights to put on television, does that include like the rights for licensing for merchandise? Like does that include that or is that still
There's
yours?
some no. The merch licensing for the merch belongs to the publisher. In my case, because that's how they work their contracts. And I
Mhm.
believe, I'm not entirely sure. I think there's some provision like the merch licensing goes over to them once the show actually goes on. In the
Okay, yeah.
meantime, we have the merchandise licensing
Mhm.
and then up until then. So I think there's like there's a bunch of different scenarios in
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. The
Um,
reason I'm asking because I want a Stormbreaker sweatshirt. So
yeah.
I'm
Well,
like,
then you would reach out to my publisher and they would be able to like, yeah, whoever.
yeah,
Yeah.
I wonder if that's like somewhere in their plans, as if they're like thinking about
Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah.
sometimes
I
sometimes
mean,
you do some
so
like I don't know. Sometimes merch shows up for books and then sometimes it doesn't. So
well,
I think it'd be
Entangled
pretty
runs a
merch.
bit differently than other publishers. Like they like consider the whole package and the whole picture, like,
That's fair. Yeah,
in
that's
a way
true.
that a lot of other publishers don't, which is one reason I really wanted to work with them because
Hmm.
they do things like very differently than anyone else is doing. So yeah, I would expect that they're they're on
Maybe
that.
when I email and be like, "Our interview was great. If you have any licensing merch, I would like to buy some." So yes, I'm a merch collector. I'm a merch hog. Well, this has been so much fun.
Yeah.
I truly cannot tell you how much this means to me. I'm so grateful to get to chat with you today and talk with you and kind of pick your brain a little bit. So thank you for letting me ask all my wild questions. I hope they weren't too
They were great
crazy.
questions. No, no. Thank you for having me.
This was so much fun. Hopefully, everyone that is listening to this episode has read Stormbreaker. If not, you know a lot that's happening, and I hope you're okay with spoilers.
Yeah,
If
we
you,
didn't give too many spoilers, but it might be
yeah, just a couple little
oh
things, but
yeah, a
also
little
some
bit.
things that we
We didn't
didn't
give too
know.
many.
Right. So if you
Yeah.
audiobooked it, now we all need to go get the physical copy so we can get the bonus chapters that
You
I
do.
didn't
You
know
need to read the bonus
existed.
chapters. One of them is related to Teddy.
Oh, yeah. At first, when I was looking through like your page and about the book, there was a teddy bear, and I was like, "What is this teddy bear happen? What is happening?" And then once I got into the story, I was like, "That's very sweet."
Teddy's based on my son's Teddy, so I made him famous.
Oh, that's cute.
And he
How did
normally
your
wears
son
a
feel about that?
he's very happy about it. He likes hearing about
Yay!
it and
And
Teddy
is your
usually
son's
wears
teddy
a
named Teddy?
sweater. Yeah, his Teddy's name is Teddy, and he normally wears a knit sweater, but he doesn't wear one in the book. But because my mom is a knitter, and so she has knit Teddy a purple sweater now. He's like he needs a purple sweater to go with
Oh,
the
yes,
book,
of
so
course.
he's gonna get his purple sweater soon. So then I'll take a picture of him with the purple
That is
sweater and
so cute. Yes, I can't wait to see it. Yeah, when I was reading it, I looked and I was like, "There it is. There's the bear."
there's
Because
the
I saw the
Teddy.
like
Yeah,
the necklace that
there's
you
the
have on your page, and I was like, what does this
what
mean?"
is with this bear?
It's now I know I'm inside the loop now. I know
Yeah,
what it means.
find out what the bear is about. Yes,
Yes, I
yes,
know
and
what
one
the
of the
bear
bonus
means
chapters
now.
Is about Rook and Teddy and the moment when he does
Oh my
something.
okay, I need
Yes.
to get the physical
Does
copy. I
something
will
very
go get
sweet.
it. I will go get
Yes.
it this week, I promise. I promise. Because I was like, "Oh, I'll just audiobook it." So, yeah, now there's things that I need to know. There's things that I need to read
Yeah.
again. So,
Yeah.
bummer, I
Get
gotta
a
get
little
this
bit.
nice book.
Oh,
Darn
yeah.
it.
The worst. The worst.
Thank you guys so much for listening. If you like this episode, please like and subscribe to our channel and follow us for the latest goodish updates, and we'll catch you later.